Welcome to my walkthrough for another game by MPI Games. This is Dark Stories Bloody Night or Crimson Shroud like it's called in the Play Store. Again we are playing as Detective Gregory Ross and we have to solve another mysterious crime, so let's go. This policeman here tells us that a guy named Edgar Cunningham has been attacked in the park, so let's try to find out more. There is this cell phone underneath that newspaper, and if we press the right buttons we get to know that it belongs to the victim. One, two, three, and four. And now we try to get through here, but the gate is locked, so we ask the policeman for help. And he gives us the key for the trunk of the car here, where we find some cutting pliers. Now just drag them on the gate and it unlocks. It's too dark back here, so we have to connect the wires in the electric box according to their colors. And also there is this hook back there at the statue and a rope in the trunk of the car. Now we can't get through the water here, so we combine the hook with the rope to reach the ladder to build a bridge. In this old mill we find two clogged wheels, but we can't get through here without a saw. So let's find one near the statue here. There is also a hammer and some nails which we take. Back to the mill we use the saw on the door. And in here we don't want wet feet, so we have to lower the water level. Therefore we place the clogged wheels back here. And with our saw we get some paddles out of the boat. And with the third wheel here we can finally remove the water. Now take this oar and continue back there, where we find a stick. Oh, and there are some planks outside which I forgot. Here they are. And with those planks, some nails and our hammer, we can repair the base. Then use the oar on the water here where the victim appears. Take his matches and solve the puzzle to find out that he was in the bar. Okay, now after we solved this puzzle, let's head to the bar to find out more about the victim. But before we do that, let's talk to the policeman once more. We tell him about the corpse that we just found and he confirms to take care of it. Okay, and now let's open the map and quick travel into the town. There is this weird guy blocking the way, so let's go to the police department. Because back here we can find some sedative pills and a bottle of turpentine. Now if we come back, this crazy protester takes the pills but still blocks the way. He sent a letter to the president but he got no answer, so we have to deal with this problem. Therefore we take the letter from this mailbox over here and take it to the police. There is this stamp which we use on the letter to make it look official. Good, now let's bring the happy news to this weird guy. He believes us and finally leaves and we can get into the bar. Talk to the barkeeper who tells us about a woman spying on the victim. And if we walk back to the morgue now, in the police station, we can talk to the forensic doctor and she tells us that the victim didn't drown and that there were 2 small holes in his neck, so this sounds like a vampire. And now we get an emergency call. There's another victim at the bar, and the girl here tells us the way back outside. This police officer tells us that nothing was stolen, and we pick up this old rag here and steal the victim's watch because he won't need it anymore. Then back here is a lever, and in that crate we find his wallet, and now we can already combine the rag with the stick and the turpentine to build a torch, which we'll need later. Oh, and there's also a piece of paper somewhere around here. Now the policeman will take the corpse to the morgue, so we're done here. The next step is the pawn shop, where that old man tells us that somebody threw something into the trash, and that's another scrap of paper. And now go back to the doctor, who asks us for some favors. First we shall repair her dictaphone, so let's take those batteries. Back here is the dictaphone itself, some duct tape and a cassette. First put in the batteries, then the cassette, and finally glue it all together with the tape. Give the dictaphone to the doctor, who asks us to arrange those X-rays. So just look at the Roman numbers here. Okay, done. Now the last objective. Go to this cleaning machine where we put the instruments in the right places. Good, now everything is done. Now we need an object plate, which is locked in this drawer down here. You can find the key in this back room. Unlock the drawer and put the plates into the microscope. It doesn't work yet because we need that green spot remover here. Finally we can put the scraps of paper here, and by using the remover we find out that it's a check of the jewelry store. So use the map to get into the town and head for the jewelry. Here we have to arrange this bracelet that was sold to the victim yesterday. The jeweler tells us that this so-called bloody heart is cursed. Now let's see what the outcome of the autopsy of the second victim is. Apparently the suspect is a woman, and furthermore both victims are empty of blood. However, we can now find another ally. Just walk through here, where we find this guy. To get his help we need to repair his fence. And we'll also need this book here. Now back to where we started, because there is a jar of paint which allows us to repair the fence. Walk back to our friend and use the paint on the fence to repair it. Now we get another objective, which is to find and remove some paintings the vampires made. Therefore we need our new ability. So let's begin at the bar. Use the ethereal sight and drag the paint can over the writing. The next sign is behind the bar. 3 more to go. Under this movie poster we find the third one. Then go back to the statue. And last but not least to the mill, where this ghoul appears. Just shoot him in the face. Back to our friend, where we get a revolver with silver bullets as a reward. Now all the way to the left on the map, where we talk to this guy who also thinks that it must have been a vampire. We take the canister with us and go to the police station, where we find this lamp. And in the other room some tapes. Put the lamp and the tapes into the projector. Now we have to rebuild the face of a woman here. This is the best match to the description. Back to the cemetery, we find another dead body, and to get rid of the crows we use our torch. Just double tap it and drag it on the body. Now we get the key for the cemetery, which we don't need yet. Instead we talk to this guy again, who asks us to solve this chess game. Just put the white bishop on e7, the black bishop on c8 and the white knight on d5. Now that guy tells us that the suspect is the vampire Christabella van Drake, and if we find and destroy a portrait of her, we can weaken the vampires. Back to the police station, we meet Detective Matthews, who asks us to meet an informant at the bar. But if we leave, we see that there was a car accident and this driver wants us to find a witness. This old man on the bench saw the crash, but he requests us to help him by finding the route to Santa Monica. Therefore we go to this map and draw the route, like this. And finally the witness tells us whose fault the accident was. One of the drivers leaves, but the other one's fuel is empty, so we return to the mill and attach this lever to the gas station. Then put the empty canister from the cemetery underneath it and bring it back. Here drag the canister on the car and we are ready to continue at the bar. We have to talk to an informant who is sitting here, and to get his attention we'll have to play the song Secret Agent Man from Johnny Rivers at the jukebox. This whistleblower has a briefcase, but he will only hand it out if we get another photo fit from the police station. So let's head back to the projector. This time we need a male face. Just try it until you get the right one. Ah, there it is. Back to the bar, drag the photo on the informant to get the case. And if we hand the briefcase out to Matthews at the police station, we get a book about Christabella. And Matthews is somehow turning crazy, so let's head back to the cemetery. Unlock the door and get in. There's a preacher in here who gives us his candelabrum. He also tells us about the dark creatures and that we can weaken them by destroying the portrait of Christabella. So let's go to the pawn shop, where the owner tells us that he has it locked in a safe. He also gives us the key, but he forgot the code for it. So after unlocking the door, we search for the code. There is a 9 on this pool ball. Then there is a number plate with 818. A blue map with a 27, and finally we look at the clock, which stands at 4 o'clock, so 400. So the code is 9818 27 400. And here is the portrait of Christabella, which we have to clean. Therefore we take our rag and put some turpentine on it. And now just wipe around here. Okay, now we are done here, so let's ask some people about the portrait. At first go to the jewelry. This lady here hasn't seen Christabella before, so we continue at the bar. The barkeeper tells us that she saw Christabella spying on the couple yesterday, and previously we heard that we shall destroy the portrait, so we will do this at the church, where we put it next to the altar and burn it with the candelabrum. Suddenly we get this emergency call from the police station, and if we go there we find the body of Detective Matthews ripped into pieces, and this policeman tells us that the suspect ran to the cinema, so let's follow him. This looks like a ghoul, so let's shoot him with our pistol. And his victim was carrying a Bible, which we take to the church. There is another creature in here, but fortunately the priest survived and tells us that we have to get into the crypt. We need 3 stars to open the door to the crypt, and the first one we get from the priest, but for the second one we have to go to the pawn shop again and exchange the candelabrum for the star. And for the 3rd star we visit this werewolf guy again. Now we got everything to unlock the crypt, so let's head back to the church and insert the 3 stars. Here we have to rotate them till these markings fit. And now it's time for the showdown. Down here we find this Christabella and just use the revolver with the silver bullets to eliminate her, and that's it. It's been a lot of work to create this video, so if it helped you, please leave me a like and some feedback, that would be great. And by the way, I create walkthroughs for many of these games, so please subscribe to find all of my walkthroughs. Thank you for watching and see you soon.